The final series of the round of 8 now to find out who moves on to the round of 4. And oh boy, is it a good one. Rain versus Soulkey. I've never cast these two playing each other, but I'm very, very excited.
They've traded wins and losses in Pro League for years now, I think we can say. They both don't play in Pro League anymore, so it's a pleasure for us to be able to cast this, and it's a best of 5 on top of that as well.
Yeah, and we're loading into Expedition Lost for our first game between these two former champions of SK Telecom, as this is going to be very, very good. All right, the final series of the day is about to begin. Who is moving on to the round of 4? Is it going to be Rain? Is it going to be Soulkey? It's a shame to lose one of these guys at this stage of the tournament, but it has to be done. As we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Zerg representing TCM, it is Soulkey. And up to the top right-hand corner, it's our red Protoss here representing my insanity, it's Rain.
Rain was a wild card invitation into this tournament, whereas Soulkey has made it all the way from the open bracket and is now the only player from the open bracket still to be in the tournament, and is hoping to make that true.
Yeah.
All the way to the final.
It would be quite the accomplishment if he did, considering the lineup that we actually have here at this tournament. Again, he has tried to qualify for Intel Extreme Masters in the past, but this is the one where he's really been able to strike home, make his mark, but can he get those extra steps further? Because if he could get into the final with this lineup that we're seeing here, I mean, he's a world-class player. There's no reason he couldn't, but it would be quite impressive, quite the accomplishment.
So we already have a gateway coming down here by Rain. He is going to go for a gateway expansion, but can start to put pressure on early with the first couple of units because the gateway's so fast, and also can follow up with a very aggressive play because his cybernetics core is going to be equally as fast after getting the gateway so early on.
Soulkey has opted to go for spawning pool first to start things off, which does give him a little bit more leeway against if something aggressive was coming out for Rain. And again, even in this matchup, Rain used to be macro, 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 but he has mixed it up quite a bit in the past half a year or so.
Yeah, Rain is, I would say, it's hard to say, but I would like to think that this is his strongest matchup. He's got a lot of success in this matchup, and he has done for a year or so, a good year or so. But Soulkey, on the other side of things, I think this is his weakest matchup. He's very good against Terran. He won his championship against Terran, and he's very clean against Zerg. But last year, especially in 2014, he lost a lot of times against Protoss players. And I think that it's going to be difficult for him to be able to beat Rain, which is why so many people are favoring him.
Yeah, Rain's very, very strong here, and we'll see if Soulkey's going to be able to trump that. It doesn't mean by any means his matchup is useless. I mean, he has actually been able to beat Rain recently online at the beginning of 2015, so that's a small feather in his cap, but not a huge amount. This is different. This is a best of 5. This is where Rain is able to flourish, and we'll see if he's going to be able to contest.
And Soulkey dedicating a bit of his resources and lava to 6 Zerglings here. Could be able to pick up a couple of probes or two. If he doesn't get any probes, it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of lava. Could be extra drones, as you were mentioning. And at least Soulkey does see everything that's going on across here. So he made these with full knowledge of what's been happening on the other side for Rain.
Yeah, hopefully he gets at least 1 probe kill with this.
He's trying, that's for sure. 2 of them are all nibbling away. The extra 4 are going to reinforce with this and see what they can do as well. But the Zealot does push it away.
Yeah, it's a shame he hasn't got one yet, but it's not over yet until the mothership calls out. But he's going to back off. It's a good start for Rain.
Yeah, you have to make the most with these Zerglings, though, now that they aren't going to be able to do too much in this main base with the mothership core out. So using them for scouting, using them for running around in circles in his opponent's base, potentially to be just slowing things down. He might be able to get a probe here, actually.
He's going to get one.
Ooh, very, very close, and he should be able to take that down. So. And even just going for another one as well off the back of this. Only losing 1 Zergling so far. It's very nice. And he gets a second probe. Really well done.
With only losing 1 Zergling. Very, very good there. I didn't think he was going to get any, but he got away with 2.
Yeah, which means now that those Zerglings are free to do things other on the map, like make sure that they're keeping good vision, making sure no probes are going to be able to move out anytime soon. So at least he has that for them to do as a secondary job.
Ooh, a Twilight Council's come down very early on here by Rain. Soulkey's going to try and scout it.
Ooh, and getting in there. Will he actually be able to spot right at the back during all of this? That Stalker should be able to block very close, and it does get the block.
He doesn't know. He knew something was back there, but he doesn't know what. Stargate or Twilight. From the Twilight, he's got 2 different branches to go down. He could easily go DTs, or he could go for a very fast blink and to a very fast gateway attack here. This is something that you don't see as common, but definitely can still work. You put pressure on, and you start warping the units before Blink is done, and you start to slow the Zerg down, and then you follow up with Blink and really kill them off. But it is going to be the Dark Shrine. He goes down this branch instead.
It's very difficult for Soulkey to spot after the Lings are dead, because there's not much airspace behind the bases for the Overlords to get in. So unless he had Overlord speed or something like that really early on, he's not going to have much information regarding this.
2 spores are coming in, though. Rain does like to favor Stargate play, so Soulkey is playing a little bit safe here in case an Oracle does fly across the other side of the map, in case it is going to be random DTs, which isn't a very common strategy, but he is a little bit safe.
And this is what I meant before about, Rain mixing it up. This is a bit more of a commitment than anything, just to try and make these Dark Templar work. And if they don't, it's a bit of a sore. But the Zealot is going to get killed off here eventually by these Zerglings. Likewise, the Queen's helping here, so this Mothership Core shouldn't be sticking around for too long.
Soulkey isn't just going to build a Spore Crawl on this 3rd base, I wouldn't expect. If 3 DTs get warped in, even 2 could probably do the job. Just kill the hatchery. And then it goes down 2 base versus 2 base, and Rain finds himself in a wonderful position, and his investment would be paid off.
That would be very nice. He is a little bit still in the dark, though, is Soulkey, as we were mentioning before. +1 weapons have started for him. Melee has actually started for Soulkey. Do you think he could use, like, Ling Roach to push at some point?
Yeah, towards the 3rd base, but he's going to lose his 3rd of himself, and then Rain just will play defensive. He'll sit back.
1 Spore Crawl is not enough. The Dark Templars can just kill that off and turn around and start working on that hatchery. The layer is nowhere near finished yet. He actually holds positions the drones, trying to get a good position to actually deny the Dark Templars from being on top of it, but it's not enough.
Down goes the Spore Crawl, and now the hatchery is going to fall instantly as well. A bad start here.
Yeah, very, very bad. A lot of Lings in production here to try and do something else with this, but losing this hatchery is going to cut into his economy, going to cut into his production, splits off 2 of those Dark Templars, knowing that 1 can finish the job. Very, very nice for Rain. Yeah,
gets hit by a Dark Templar build. Very unfortunate there. No Overlord Scout, no knowledge of this whatsoever. And Rain is going to be very comfortable to sit back, build up, because if he tries to move out to take a 3rd base from this position, he will get overrun by Roach and Lings, like you said, especially with that +1 melee attack coming in for them. Roach speed as well. It'd be suicide almost to move out to try to take a 3rd base. Slow it down. Just take it calm, add on a lot of sentries, add on a lot of zealots, and make sure you're safe to take that 3rd.
Yeah, definitely. From there on out, of course, you've got to be very, very careful. He's got plenty of gateways, which, just adds on to being able to get a lot of units out to be able to claim that 3rd. And those Zerglings have already pushed onto the 3rd and forced the cancellation anyway. So really well done there by Soulkey to limit his opponent whilst he was being limited back at home.
Oh, Dark Templars are going to break into the back here.
And I was watching through Soulkey's vision, and he didn't really go over to the rocks because he, and thus not see the swipes. And getting this Spore Crawler...
Overseer's close.
How far? Okay. So I don't think he can get much more than that. He'll have to split these Dark Templars up and run away for now.
But still, the units have to come back to defend rather than keeping Rain away from that 3rd. The Nexus should be being placed down, but as we see, Rain's moving out. If he... This could be brilliant here. If he comes down this right-hand side flank, DT's keeping Soulkey occupied, snipe the 3rd, then go back again.
Does he have the Mothership Core with it for the recall?
He should do.
That would be really, really nice
right
if he
behind.
does. Okay, so there is the potential here for this to play out very, very nicely for him. Getting a 3rd at this point in the game would be absolutely devastating to a Zerg, and he certainly has to prepare very, very well for this.
Oh man, DT is still causing a nuisance here for Soulkey inside the main base, and this attack is coming on the 3rd.
He sees it. He could actually split a lot of this off with force fields. He has the potential to do so. Also, he can warp in a lot of units here with the Warp Prism that he has available to him. He got a lot of gates behind this, so this is still 2 base for Rain as he continues to put on the pressure. Needs a good force field, so the Roaches spread themselves pretty nicely considering the position. Also, not too bad force fields on the back to stop a lot of those Lings getting on top of those Stalkers. Is he going to be able to bring down enough of these Roaches?
The force fields were not good on this left-hand side to start that fight off, but +2 about to kick in will help a lot with these Stalkers, but Rain kind of messed that up.
There's still more roaches piling on in, but Blink is available here. Some of the Stalkers at the back aren't actually entering the fight, but Blink Micro can contest a lot of this. He did bring down the Mothership Core with that, though, so that's a little thing taken away from it, but dead even in terms of supply.
Yeah. The problem is Soulkey's so low on economy after losing this third, and low on production too. It's very difficult for him to keep up with the efficiency of Blink Stalkers.
The Overseer is at the natural. It needs to come back here. There is a Dark Templar in the mix doing a lot of damage, whilst these Blink Stalkers are also retaining their position against this. The Dark Templar will fall, but that's a lot of Stalkers that Rain has in this position. There you go, GG, just too many units. And Rain is able to take game number 1. Soulkey torn left and right.
Simple strategy, simple win. Chose Twilight Council nice and early, chose DT's got a free pickup on the third hatchery, and it is a Protoss player's dream against a Zerg player of this caliber. It's such an advantage to be able to get that for free like it was. It wasn't scouted, it wasn't picked up. He sets himself in a beautiful position. He didn't need to attack. He could have done anything from that position. He could have taken a 30. He attacked. He chose the instant win, which he took.
Very nice there by Rain. Very well done. So that means game number 1 is over. Join us after the break when we'll have game number 2 between Rain and Soulkey. Rain able to take game number 1 here in this best of 5 in the round of 8 to find out who is going to be moving on to the round of 4. And Soulkey up against it a little bit. He was torn left and right. Very, very simple win there in the end for Rain, who utilized those Dark Templars pretty well.
Yeah, and that's going to be very key in this, is just executing these type of plays. And you're going to be able to pick up a lot of wins like that. Rain is going to continue to play very similar, I'd imagine. The thing is he doesn't have to, because he can just play a Stargate Phoenix or Oracle Phoenix into the third and play it very normal. But having a lot of these tricks and strategies up his sleeve is going to prove very difficult for Soulkey to play against. And Soulkey's got to be on top of his scouting. You have to see these types of plays coming.
Yeah. Again, we have to reiterate, Expedition Lost is pretty difficult in terms of getting that scouting information. I actually don't mind some of the earlier Overlord speed builds on that map if you're not going to be able to get in with your Lings. I think it's quite a little bit of a gas investment, of course, but if you want to get that extra knowledge very early on, it is very, very useful, I feel.
I think so too. So I wonder how Soulkey should approach this next map. It's going to be Deadwing of all maps here. So does he want to try to play a super aggressive game against Rain? I have to feel that taking a slow approach is going to be the better way. Lots of scouting. Sometimes we even see getting Overlord speed, for example, to really heighten the fact that you can scout and find out what's going on.
That's great. It's a very, very nice tool to use. For a long, long time, actually, in my Zerg games, I exclusively used it just so I could have the information. It's very, very useful. You don't have to rely on Lings actually getting lucky during all of that. What was the second map you said? Sorry, Deadwing.
Deadwing it's going to be.
Okay. So if they did spawn cross positions, I feel... do I want to favor Soulkey in a cross positions game? I don't think it would be too bad for him. I think that's going to be his best shot, of course. Rain's still using a lot of tricky builds. And if he were to do something like that, again, on a map like this in cross positions, I think it'd be very difficult. But overall, as you said, Rain has a lot available to him.
Yeah, he does. And that's the power of Protoss when you utilize it properly. Is you do have a lot of tools to your disposal. Yeah. And so far, Rain, I mean, if we're going to judge the rest of the series based off that first game, it's going to be an ugly series for Soulkey. But he's a champion, and as Red I mentioned, he has the fighting spirit to be able to pull this around and just kind of knuckle down. But he's playing, and I would like to say he's facing his worst nightmare here. He's facing Protoss, and then he's facing Rain, who is so very good. He's obviously the finalist of San Jose just a few months back before Christmas, who's come to another Intel Extreme Masters here, who is eager to get to that final again, and is eager to actually take the trophy and challenge these players that we have already through to the semifinals.
Yeah. And then you think about how long ago it has been since someone like Soulkey has been in a final. It's been a year and a bit. It's been since Hot 6 Cup in at the end of 2013. So, but you've got to go to 2014 where he was knocked out by champions. You were mentioning it before. Every single tournament he actually, for a run, he was knocked out by extremely strong players.
Yeah, during the GSL last year, despite not getting a lot of high-level results, he was knocked out by Zest twice.
Yeah.
And Maru in the other one.
That's pretty brutal.
You know, it's difficult, but there's no doubt that Soulkey isn't quite on the same level he was in 2013, but he's definitely still got it within him to be able to turn this around and be able to hopefully push towards that game against Maru in the semi-finals. But both of those players, by the way, would make a good semi-final if Soulkey was to be able to go through. Both players making their debut here at the Intel Extreme Masters, both players getting to the semi-finals, but Rain, on the other hand, he's played 2 Intel Extreme Masters before this. The San Jose one, obviously, where he got to the final, was up 3 games and then lost 4 in a row to Hero, who took that trophy then. But he also played in the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne earlier on in that year. Managed to get a top 4 and actually narrowly missed out on a final there, where he lost versus Pult.
I recall that. It was interesting because I never even expected him to be there, of all places, in Cologne with us. But yeah, he was there. And then you think about how these two did in Pro League in 2014. They were both in the top 10 of performers there, with Soulkey having 20 wins, 14 losses, and Rain having 20 wins, 10 losses. So they both represented SK Telecom so well during 2014. And now they're on completely opposite teams, on other sides of the world, compared to where they were last year. So there's been big changes for both of them, but they're still able to compete at the very highest level.
They absolutely are very much capable of competing at the highest level and hunting down the end goal, which is to be able to, hopefully, here at the Intel Extreme Masters, Soulkey especially qualify for the World Championship, but down the line, play at BlizzCon at the end of the year. It's every StarCraft player's dream to be able to go to that tournament. Only 16 slots available. Rain is definitely a contender this year.
Those points mean a lot even now. Even now. I think Rain is very high. He's second at the moment. I mean, that's huge. And Hero, who was first in that, is now eliminated. So this is a really good opportunity for Rain to accrue even more points and do a little bit of catch-up here. Yeah,
and Rain's still got to play the round of 16 in GSL soon to come as well. So lots of points up for him to grab soon.
Definitely. And then, of course, Soulkey, he's still in the top 16 with about 800 points or so. But, of course, you've still got Maru here after beating Hero out, who's got 850 points, sat at 6th. So there's a lot of top earners of points in this tournament still alive. I say a lot. There's not that many, considering there's only like 5 players left. But they're all up there, which is something that really makes the lineup so far very intriguing, because the points still mean a lot, even at the very beginning.
Who do you think has a better chance to win the entire of the tournament, Rain or Soulkey?
That's a very good question. I think
next match being against Maru, and then after that, parting or life.
If you consider how Maru looked against Hero in the previous game, I would have to say Soulkey, especially since Soulkey's, I think it's his better matchup. I think for Maru, it's probably his better matchup as well.
Don't forget True and Hydra, what Maru did to both of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would you go with Rain for that then?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? Even despite the previous series for Maru?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd go with Rain to have a better chance at winning it all.
I think the top 8 as a whole was was pretty. Some of them were pretty difficult to figure out, with Maru actually beating out Hero and Hero not doing as well there in the round of 8. But I think in the end, I think that Rain would have a really good shot there. I think he would.
All right, well, just kind of waiting to start the very close to starting it. See also both players waiting for that too.
Have you had a good time in Taipei so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah? Been treating you well? I would mention the tower, but I think about 100 people on Twitter have mentioned the tower, and people are getting bored of the tower. So, aside from that, looks like we'll be getting into this game in just a little bit here.
Yeah, there's not much else here apart from that tower. I mean, there's a lot of great restaurants and places to go, but nothing really apart from that.
A lot of good food places. Been enjoying the Asian food as well here in Taipei. And apparently, you guys queued for 3 hours for food.
No, yes, but no.
Was that an exaggeration?
I mean, yes, we did, but it was more standing out, enjoying each other's company for 3 hours. I like to look at it as.
Aww.
You know, it was a bunch of friends hanging around the streets, just kind of enjoying each other's company, waiting for Korean barbecue. It was great.
Enjoying friends' company and Todd. Aww. Oh well. Was the food worth it in the end after 3 hours or so?
It was.
It was?
It was. It was a really nice place.
Good. Well,
it was Hydra, who was with us, said it was well worth the wait, and he's Korean, so he knows good Korean food.
That makes sense.
And he said it was nice.
Hydra's actually been interacting quite a lot with us foreigners, as it were. I guess being in America now, he has the opportunity to, and we see him a lot. But now it looks like we're loading into game number 2, so thank you for waiting. Thank you for your patience here at the Intel Extreme Masters Taipei, as we have Rain and Soulkey loading up into this second game.
A lot of people watching these players now.
Yeah.
Saturday here in Taipei. Lots of people come to the game show to watch this.
Met some fans earlier, they're very cool. All right, I think we can get into game number 2 now of this best of 5 series.
They are. They can't hear us.
No,
but
they can't.
There they are.
They're great. They're lovely people. Lovely. All right, Rain versus Soulkey. Now getting on with things in game number 2. Deadwing is our map. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg. Representing TCM, it is Soulkey.
Coming all the way from the open bracket.
And spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it's our red Protoss. Representing my insanity, it's Rain.
Who hasn't been able to play at BlizzCon in 2013, 2014, but did make it to BWC in 2012. Got the 3rd place there. Hopefully he can accrue some points throughout the year now, being on My Insanity. They can support him, send him to all these international tournaments, and hopefully continue to do well in GSL and Star League. Unfortunately, failed to qualify for Star League in Season 1, but did manage to get into GSL and advance from the round of 32, beating our BlizzCon champion 2-1. So we will play in the round of 16 very shortly.
Yeah, I think it's been a good start for him here in 2015, that's for sure, especially if he's able to advance on from this game as well. He actually sent a probe out after Pylon, so he does force out the spawning pool first because he scouted his opponent first in that correct location.
Yes, and is being annoying with his probe too.
Yeah, just going to circle around, juke and jive, and that poor little drone is going to have to trail him just in case he does anything too weird.
And Rain is going for one of his favored builds here. Nexus first, and it's usually followed by a Stargate and an Oracle. It's something that he's used a lot. It's his probably favorite build, I'd like to say. He goes for the Nexus first, he grabs a pretty fast Oracle from the Stargate as soon as it's up and running, and then he likes to take a greedy 3rd from it as well, and this map is perfect for that. The area in between the 2nd and natural is flat, and then you've got this nice ramp that you protect around your 3rd base, and it's very difficult for a Zerg player to break a Protoss player who's on 3 Nexus when he has a Stargate up and running. An Oracle destroys Zerglings, you know, cannons, force fields, stalkers, protect against roaches. Can be a very, very strong build.
Yeah, playing cautious overall though, with the Forge before Gateway. Knows that there was the spawning pool first, so doesn't exactly want any Lings really flooding forwards and having to make some very strange wall off. Cannon will help out well, and the Overlord sees all of this, so not too much that Soulkey can do in return at the moment.
No, he's just going to grab his third base at a pretty good time here, pretty standard time. He's gone over with his Overlord. He knows what he's playing against. It's a normal time for this third to come in, and he's going to really work on his mineral income only, so it's going to be a lot of queens and a lot of drones. He'll take his gases a little bit later on.
And there's great opportunity on this map, I feel, for getting good creep spread, like really good creep spread, because the middle of the map is all flat and there's no real deterrences from getting that going. So unless Rain pokes out with a few units and starts putting a little bit of pressure to deny that, it can be difficult.
And to allow a Zerg player to drone up heavily is what you don't really want against Rain's build, because there are certain strategies. Let's just say, for argument's sake now, that Rain does go towards his favorite build and he does throw the Stargate down and tries to get a fast third. There are Hydra timings which can beat it if executed well. And if Soulkey can get away with playing greedy, lots of drones, late gases, no need to build any early Zerglings, no Roach Warren, he can really speed up the timing of that and hit harder.
And the creep would help that if he were to do it. So let's see if Soulkey can line all of these things up, because there's the Stargate, Sean. And this is, again, kind of what Soulkey was prepping for in game number 1.
Yeah.
But this time it's come along.
Gases coming in here for Soulkey. A little bit earlier than normal. It's 6 minutes is the standard. 5:45, a little bit earlier, means he's going to get gas a little bit faster, which means he could get that layer earlier.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
But it is greedy if he goes straight towards the layer here. And Rain has been known in the past to go Oracle, 4 gateways, and mix it up. And then attack you when you're playing greedy and actually punish you and technically kill you.
Yeah, because if it's just the Oracle opener, you're going to get spores. You're going to maybe lose a few drones, but you'd like to be replenishing those drones during it all going on, so the follow-up attack can be quite deadly.
Soulkey's missed the Stargate. He's going back to the natural in hope to spot something in the grey area around the Nexus.
That's one of the annoying parts of this map, actually. It's not that you can't get in with your Overlords, it's that there's so much space to cover with the Overlords to see what you need to see. But he's got Spore Crawlers on the way, so at least he's reading into who he's playing.
Rain is a little... I mean, not Rain, sorry. Soulkey is a little bit confused. He has not seen a tech structure. He sees that a +1 attack is being researched and that there are gases on the natural. He just doesn't know what exactly he's playing against. So he's thrown down spores and also decided to get Zergling speed just in case he was to be attacked by some of those weird timings which Rain can throw out.
Whoa, Void Ray to look. Normally that's to establish a third base after that Overlord does. After the Oracle does do a little bit of damage. Didn't link up his bases actually though with creep from the natural to the main. So he's going to lose a few drones here whilst this Queen is trundling along very slowly to try and get back in defense.
This is perfect for Rain. 5 kills already. Third Nexus down off just a single gateway. Single Void Ray should, unless he wants to play heavy air, single Void Ray is all he'll be needing to defend that third. Everything's going streamlined for Rain so far.
Yeah, third base now on the way. This Overlord is going paying for its small position that it does find itself in. Oracle still looking for a little room, maybe at the third, but it's going to be difficult considering there are already spores and the natural and third are linked up by creep, so the Queens are going to be able to reinforce nice there.
Rain has decided to get a second Void Ray too.
Ooh.
Very interesting. Usually you'd see instead of the second Void Ray, the Twilight Council coming in, and then a hunt towards the +2 attack, Blink Stalkers and a lot of gateways. Interesting to see the second Void Ray. And it's the second and third Stargate too.
So we may see a lot of Void Rays.
Yeah, this is a style which used to be very popular in 2013, mainly by SOS. And it kind of died off quite fast because there were ways to stop it. Queen Heavy, Queen Hydra Infestors, in combination of all three just destroyed this. But we don't really see that anymore.
Yeah.
And Zerg have gone back to Hydras a lot. But with good force fields,
exactly,
crucial force fields, and good Void Ray micro, you can beat Hydralist, and that's what Soulkey's playing.
That's a really good point that you bring up. We've seen time and time again good force fields with Void Rays doing so much, even against Hydras. You just have to push them back, basically. And at least he sees, though, that the Hydralist Den is down. So, but look, he spotted the Stargates up at the back.
Correct, and he threw down the Infestation Pit immediately as a response.
I like that a lot. I really do. It's going to be able to lock these down and then give the Hydras ample opportunity to actually jump on top of it.
And he threw down a fourth base knowing that Rain doesn't have a lot of gateways, doesn't have a lot of force out there, so he's easily going to be able to take this. Soulkey ideally wants wants a lot of Hydralisk because he's playing with double Evolution Chamber and Infestors as support here. With Fungal Growth to lock them down and Infested Terrans, he could do well.
But I've got to ask, Sean, with Rain having seen the infestation pit behind all of this, well, I guess we just see his response now on screen, which is Templar Archives to be able to try and deal with those.
He switched away from Void Ray production. Notice it was only 5, then stop, then Zealot Charge, +2 attack, and Templar Archives. He's just going to have a very heavy ground army. With Storm mixed in, he can land Storms onto this very light set of units. Hydralisks, Zerglings, and Infestors, he can feed back and just overwhelm here. It's going to be a very powerful army, and to be honest, I think Rain has the upper hand currently because he kind of knows what's going on. He's the most up-to-date player in this game. Yeah. Soulkey does not know this switch.
Mothership Core out and about with the Void Rays. Just in case they get in trouble, he can recall them back. It's very expensive loss if you do lose just a few of them. You certainly want them in your main army once it comes along. It's because he's got 5 of them. They're still packing a punch. And even more 3 Void Rays have started up production again here, Sean.
Yeah, interesting to add on 3 more Void Rays here. I think he's just wanted to add on the Templar Archives first and then switch back. But I would love to see, instead of 3 more Void Rays, I guess 3 Void Rays are good, but the Robotics Bay immediately and start switching over to Colossus. Colossus is an instant killer against what Soulkey has.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much at all to deal with that. There's going to be extra Spore Crawlers going down to deter any of these Void Ray movements coming along. Again, we have seen in the past these small pockets of Void Rays going in, sniping something off, and then just recalling with a Mothership Core, not only if it was getting in trouble in the middle of the map. So that was potentially what Rain was looking for there, but he has to be careful in the middle because now a lot of Hydralisks are moving about.
Yeah, as a Zerg, you always want to hit before the Protoss builds up too high with their army. So Soulkey's going to move out, and he's going to try and kill off Rain, or at least deal a lot of damage. Rain's going to have to coordinate his defense perfectly. The Mothership Core being out is not a good start.
Oh, losing that, no photon overcharge, not even time warp to be able to limit any movement here. He's got a lot of Zealots warping in. They do have Zealot charge. Storm is about to finish. He really wants to delay this until Storm comes along, but Soulkey is hitting at the perfect time here to be able to do a big chunk of damage. Storm is now finished though. Has to be careful. One great Storm lands on a lot of those Hydralisks to bring them very far down. The Fungal at the front did catch a lot of that as well, but another Storm rips
Hydralisks are too low. Void Rays will kill everything now.
He's got to be careful.
Are way too low.
He's got to be very, very careful here. Not even that much energy left on the Infestors as well. That's still a lot of Void Rays packing a punch, as well as the Zealots on the ground to be able to push that back. Rain just holding on scarcely. Soulkey almost had that window, but was slightly off.
4 Infestors still remain, but no energy. 15, 16 more Hydralisks coming out. They do have the power to beat these Void Rays, but he needs them with his army, obviously.
Yeah, 13, as I say, Hydralisks on the way. That's a lot of Hydras, but with the Infestors not having too much energy at this point, and Zealots in the main base from the Warp Prism doing a bit of harassment here, catching those Spore Crawlers, opens up for potential harassment later on, but also Zealots actually getting some of these Infestors as well. That's a really lovely trade there for Rain.
Enduring Locust, of all things, being researched here, against a heavy Void Ray army, unless he's expecting a switch up from Rain to go away from Ed, the Enduring Locust and Swarmos doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's going to be pretty good, but he's going to have to slow the game completely down. But the problem is there's 11 Void Rays.
Exactly. He has to slow it down and then control space around the Swarm hosts, making sure that he has good Fungals if they do end up going over there to be able to bring that down. The Warp Prism ends up falling in the main base. Nice pick up there for Soulkey.
There's going to be continued amounts of warpings around the map here. There's a Warp Prism on the left-hand side, a pylon there as well. But this army's pretty good here for Rain. 1 Storm in the middle of those Hydralisks, and these Void Rays will do the rest.
Yeah, can't really go too far at all. He catches a few of those units with the Force Fields, but that's good for Rain. He's happy to just push this away. Sit back, get his 4th base up and running. 8 Stalkers now warping in with Blink on the way as well. And actually, that's aggressive.
Yes, it is. Swarmos now been revealed. And I really feel that Colossus should be in play, but good Fungal.
Oh, very good Fungal. Actually zoning out a lot of that. But he also got some feedbacks onto those Infestors, and he really wants to get on top of this. This Oracle on the left-hand side not doing too much, but Storms on top of some of these Swarm hosts as well. And he doesn't actually have detection here, I don't think.
No,
he's just going to rely entirely on Storms to try and push through this, along with the Void Rays as well. How much damage are these Void Rays really taking? There's a counterattack on the other side. Roaches are doing some damage to that Nexus, but the Void Rays stay alive.
There's no anti-air.
there's nothing for them to deal with. Of course, I mean, the Swarm Host can kill things on the ground, but what are you supposed to do about the Void Rays? He's got 15 Hydralisks in production, but unless they all come out at the same time, with the Subserver now there as well, he's not going to be able to kill this off. If they come in small chunks, they may all die.
Yes, they will. Void Rays are pretty strong against these Hydralisks.
And they're all separated. Just a few pop at this location, but coming in the back, maybe catching some of the weaker ones at the back as well. He needs to get out of there now. They actually did congeal nicely to push the Void Rays away. And Rain, he was able to save his fourth, all importantly during that. So at least he has a little bit of income to go back to.
Yeah, both players playing a very scrappy game here. Low supply. Another Void Ray gets picked off there. Blink is done, +3 attack's done. But without Colossus in the game, I really think it's a crucial
I agree.
unit here. It's going to be difficult because the Swarmos will clear up Zealots very easily, and the High Templar even more so.
Yeah.
And then the Hydralisks, which are fighting behind Locust, are going to deal well with the Void Rays now.
And now the composition we're seeing Soulkey build up into is, well, I mean, was he replenishing queens for injects? I think he was, actually. If he was building extra queens, then that would have been pretty cool against this Void Ray heavy composition, because they do actually do pretty well. They've got long range when it comes to anti-air, but for now, all of this has been revelated, and he does see the majority of the movements out for Soulkey.
And even a couple of queens been added on to replenish before. You can keep adding them on, to be honest. That'd be great for pushing this creep spread further and up.
Yeah, yeah.
And also to join the fight.
There is a little bit of Oracle harassment in that third base. Got himself a few kills there. But the Locust now slowly encroaching onto territory. He wants to try and maybe focus some of those High Templars down. I think he could have got some of those, actually, if he'd have focused with the Locust. Wasn't meant to rhyme, but it doesn't matter. As the Zealots just pull on back for a second. Don't want to go anywhere near that.
Finally, the Colossus switch.
Okay, it's taken a while, though. That's an extra... Well, he wants the double Colossus production, and if he can get there, then great, but these Locusts are going to be irritating at this location.
Possibly Rain thought he was a little bit further ahead than he was and wanted to finish off the game, but that switch was desperately needed.
Some Hydralisks actually made their way into the third base. Storm on some of these Hydralisks as well. Continues those storms on as there is combating the Locust during all of that and plummeting in terms of supply. There is a big army disparity in this, but for now, the Void Rays will be able to hold on and keep him alive once again.
Look at the supply difference between the two of them, though, and with that +3 attack and more queens been added on, the exact unit he needs. Push the creep spread further so his Swarmos can escape and attack easier, and then backing up is going to be so much nicer. The Void Rays are also going to start targeting queens, and they take a long time to kill queens, which allows the Hydralisks to deal the damage that they need to do against these Void Rays to bring them down fast. Soulkey is in prime position to draw this series up.
But Rain also trying to accrue Colossi now. He's not going to have Thermal Lance with the first two that pop out, that's for sure. Not even the first four if he's actually chrono boosting into those Colossi here. But
Rain needs 4 Colossus before he's ready to properly fight. He can't clear up the Locust waves easily without the Colossus.
He has a lot of High Templars, but only about 4 Storms in him at the moment. He will get a few more in a second with those extra 3 that are coming along. The Roaches just march into the natural, though. They did see the Colossi coming out, so that will give a little bit of help to Soulkey here to maybe think about exactly what he's going to do against that. But he's doing a bit of damage. He's getting a few workers. Also pushing onto that third base. Locust still going over to the fourth. Soulkey is absolutely laying siege to these positions.
Yeah, he's killed 14 probes doing so.
Yeah, Rain doesn't have much opportunity to breathe at all, and there's also potential actually pull here from a Viper. He's got to be able to feed back that, otherwise he's going to lose expensive units.
Well, that +3 attack's about to complete for these Hydralisks and Roaches. And the creep finally starting to spread itself.
A great little split, just taking a few of these Hydralisks off to kill. Even just a few probes is great here for Soulkey. He's got money in the bank. That's the important thing off that.
He's put Rain down to 30 probes. Rain's income is almost non-existent.
Oh, there's a grab. And that Colossus is going to go pretty darn fast. Keeping it out of range of those Locusts, but it didn't really matter too much there.
Yeah, good synergy of Soulkey's units here, using that Viper to bring the one unit which is deadly, the Colossus, into range.
And even Roaches eventually being wiped out in the main base, but again, he has a lot of potential AoE in this army with the High Templar, but just not enough. I don't think he has the longevity in this army. That's the problem.
And the more creep that's getting closer to Rain, the more difficult this is going to be.
Yeah, the Swarm Host.
I mean, he's plummeting. He's got no money.
And he's even going to lose a High Templar there to just Roaches alone at the front. The Void Rays are trying to do what they can, but Soulkey is up 100 supply right now, performing very well, brings the Queens forwards to start bringing the fight to those Void Rays, even getting on top of the Colossi with a few of those Roaches, and this is all but done. Rain has very, very little left to his name.
Yeah, very impressive army composition by Soulkey, and he wins out against Rain.
GG, good game there by Soulkey. A great map for him as well, of course, though.
Yep.
Able to spawn very, very far away from Rain. Hard for him to really do too much, and he was read into. Did have that Stargate initially read into by Soulkey, able to prepare. Oracle didn't do too much.
Yeah, tied up now. Definitely mistakes were made on both sides there. Very scrappy game, resulting in that low supply, multiple different fights.
Do you feel the Colossi could have come out earlier during all of that? Less commitment to Void Rays to eke that out with the gas expenditure you need?
I really did enjoy that Rain squeezed the Templar Archives in and then continued to build Void Rays. I actually really like that because you can build Void Rays, but sometimes it can be difficult to hold, and you do task yourself a little bit with that. But squeezing out the Templar Archives, as we saw in that game, he got Storm out in the nick of time. He was able to push back. That was perfect. Upon pushing back, Soulkey to his side of the map, he went for the kill, continued to warp in Stalkers, aggressive units, and just kind of went for it. At that point was probably the ideal time to add on Colossus while that fourth was being taken. At that point, if he was to bet pushback, and the big question here is if he was to get pushback, because he might not have, he might have just won the game and he looks great. But he did get pushback. He got pushed back, and then he had to use all his resources to defend against these pushes that were coming out from Soulkey. If he'd just chosen to get that tech switch in while all this was happening, he could have fallen back onto Colossus, and the game would have been just much easier for himself. It would have made it easier for himself.
I mean, you said at the very beginning of that, he got Storm in the nick of time, and oh boy, was it in the nick of time. He could have taken huge, huge game-crippling damage had he not had it at just that right time. And we saw how much those Storms really made the difference. So, in the end, good by Rain to hold on there, but obviously Soulkey being the victor in a more prolonged, long game. So it's really nice to see Soulkey actually tie this up. I really want this to go to all 5 games with these 2 fantastic players.
It very well could do, because the next map is going to be Overgrowth, a map which Zerg players have had quite a bit of success on over the last couple of months, whether it be Swarm Host play, which suffocates the Protoss and the game goes long, which Soulkey can do, or whether it's going to be very clinical timings towards that third base with Hydralisk pushes, or Zergling Roach multiple angle attacks, breaking the rocks, coming from 3 directions and surrounding the Protoss who's on minimal units. These type of plays have gained Zerg a lot of success on this map, and very often you do see Protoss players want to veto this map against Zerg. They don't like this map against Zerg, so this could be a perfect stance and opportunity for Soulkey to go up 2-1, to start to turn this around, to then, for the rest of the series, become more interesting.
Yeah, Rain contemplating his choices and options here as we get into this next game, and overall he's got a lot to think about, because doing well in this series means moving on to the round of 4, which the money starts going up, the points start going up. He's second in WCS at the moment, and getting a good lead at the start. I mean, you think about the points right now. You think about how many points Hero has, around 1,800, 1,900-ish. You needed about 3,200 last year to make it into the top 16, which is remarkable to say he has that many points that early on, and Rain is right up there. Rain can keep pushing for points, so these wins mean a lot to him.
Yeah, already both players here have guaranteed themselves 250 WCS points. But I know they probably have absolutely no idea about that right now. It's all thinking about this victory. But Rain is... I wonder what he's going to try to use on this map, because there are multiple different choices for him to go through. And it's up to him, I suppose.
And you've got to think as well, I think that both of them being past SK Telecom, and both of them being so up, so good in terms of that team, they probably have quite a strong rivalry between them as well, because they know that both of them are fantastic players, and they are good friends from what I hear. Like, they don't necessarily want to be losing to each other. They want to show that, yeah, I know you're really good, but I'm better. All right.
Both respecting each other a lot, for sure.
Yeah. Looks like we're getting into game number 3 now. Overgrowth is going to be our map here. It's 1-1 now between Rain and Soulkey. And again, personally, I wouldn't have it any other way, as we now load into game number 3 in this best of 5 to find out who is moving on to the round of 4. Here at the Intel Extreme Masters Taipei, we've had a phenomenal round of 8 so far, and by the looks of things, it's not going to slow down as Rain and Soulkey look to move on. All right, spawning up to the top right-hand corner as our blue Zerg, representing TCM, it is Soulkey. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's our red Protoss, representing my insanity, it is Rain. So, Overgrowth. Drone actually moving out really, really quickly here, Sean.
That's right, Claris. Drone approaching the Xel'Naga and moving over to the other side of the map here. Going to be able to, number 1, scout, see if there is a forge or not. We could see trickery coming out from this drone, whether it's going to...
style.
Yeah, we could. But more than likely not. It's probably just going to be, oh, there's the forge, slap down the spawning pool. But we'll see.
Helps out a lot. As there it goes. So,
yeah, and the drone's on its way back already.
Yeah. Oh,
Kind of sitting around here. What are you doing?
What is he up to?
You're wasting valuable mining time, little boy.
Yeah, you are. Poor little guy. If he placed down a hatchery, I would... I very rarely see Soulkey do anything really out of the ordinary.
Yeah, but where exactly is he going to put the hatchery?
I guess there. It'd be very strange. He's going to go back in, though, and he sees the cancellation of the forge. And look at that. He wanted to actually place one down. But, I mean, if you don't see the forge there, and it's obviously going to be the Nexus, so... Takes his natural behind all of this. Goes back to normal.
Really wanted to see the Nexus and Gateway being placed down.
Really did, yeah. So, Rain changes up it up a little bit as scouts around and gets to know what's going on. Soulkey can, from there on, just go and place down his third hatchery without
building
much...
6 links, and I think that drone scout could have told him to build these, knowing that that is not a forge and not a potential cannon, and he may try to deal a bit of damage here. Yeah. Remember, he got 2 probe kills on that first map.
It's a good read. It's a good read, because, I mean, what is really going to stop him here, I don't even think the wall's going to be finished up in time. He does see these going across the map, at least. So, is able to prepare with the start of a wall here.
I love the walls.
Yeah. Zealot's actually going to come out and start working on this. Gets himself 1 swipe on a Zergling, and heads straight into the main, looking for probes very, very quickly.
How many is he going to get, James?
Don't know, maybe 2, maybe none. Depends on the good micro. Starts working on... so he's waiting for the probe to come out of the natural, which is quite smart.
Nice,
get it work?
Nice catch. Not yet.
Nope. And it does get rallied back, so... Good reactions there by Rain to be able to keep himself and all of his little probes alive.
Yeah, he didn't lose any probes. That's actually pretty good there for Rain. Very solid defense overall. Soulkey behind this did take an extractor and has decided to get early Zergling speed. So he does want to take control of the map. Doesn't want any early push-outs, no Mothership Core and a Zealot protecting a probe that builds a pile, and he wants to get that out there. If an attack comes, he can move out, build a lot of Zerglings. Already we all seen a push-out. 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core, or at least he thought about pushing out. Maybe a little bit still concerned about the Zerglings still being around, but he's definitely wanting to pressure that third that Soulkey has down.
Yeah, it went down a little bit later at the cost of this speed being on the way at least, but Soulkey trying to chase down this, he won't be able to get it. So that's going to be able to... The Zealot and Mothership Core do present quite a problem at that third location.
Absolutely, there's only 2 queens, 1 for each hatchery.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to walk there very quickly if they want to go.
Interesting. I wonder if Soulkey builds a lot of lings or just a few. He's only adding on 8 right now, which does kind of... It doesn't... I don't even think it deals with the 2 Zealots Mothership Core.
No.
Well, I guess it does with the ones that are left over, sorry, excuse me. There are still 5 left over from
they're coming back.
Initial push.
I thought maybe they'd even just go straight across and do something there, but no, looks like they're bringing those back. The Queen's on the way as well to eventually push back the the Mothership Core and actually recalls. So doesn't lose anything for that and loses a few links in the process and forces some production from the lava. So less drones out for Soulkey.
Very good follow-up scout here from Soulkey. Sees additional gateways. I wonder if he's, I was going to say, I wonder if he's going to throw down that Roach one. You do want to be cautious and safe. To be honest, he hasn't looked down this left-hand flank very well to see if there's a probe out there. There could have been a probe starting to build up Zealots.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
So that isn't a problem in this game, luckily for Soulkey, but could have proved a problem.
Yeah, it's been really on the Overlords to do most of the scouting on the extremity over on the right-hand side. But you're right, on the left, it's a little bit sparse of coverage.
And that knowledge, unless he already knows there's definitely no probe out there, and I really don't think he does, is the difference between adding on drones or roaches.
Yep. Well, at least he saw at the front there was a lot of sentries, so it looks like he wants to establish himself a third base.
Soulkey doesn't care if there's a pylon or probe out there. He's obviously seen this Nexus wants to be taken, and he's going to try to challenge the Nexus. 14 additional lings have been added. Is that enough?
Well, Twilight Council's going to go down for behind this for Rain. But you're right, it's a good question. Is this enough?
I don't think it is.
How many? He has a lot of space control. That's 8 sentries, and if he gets a good walled-in position at that third base, right now those pylons aren't exactly the best of walled-in positions.
This isn't enough. This isn't enough.
Okay, adds on the extra gateways as well to seal off positions. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Oh, squeeze through, but yeah, there's too much. Oh, catches some.
Where is Soulkey going with his play? I'm kind of waiting. This won't do anything here.
No.
And Rain will take this third very easily.
Too much space control.
And Rain's going to push himself into Blink, +2 attack, start adding on Stalkers now. He's got a very healthy Sentry Zealot count. He could move out in the process of getting Blink and +2 with the Mothership Core, look for some damage, free damage around the third base of the Zerg, and then fall back onto his heavy Stalker production. I like this move out by Rain, very smart.
That's a lot more roaches than I was, I was about to say that's a lot more roaches than I was expecting, but the move out, in essence, causes those roaches to come out. Unless he really wants to go, he's making even more with freeing up that supply as well. Yeah, he starts even more roaches. Is he just going to go straight for the third? Well, he makes drones now.
Soulkey's been very...
That's a lot of
50-50 with what he's doing here.
Yeah.
And to be honest, looking at the way he played in the previous game, at the start of it at least, he's just very cautious.
Seems so.
And he could have been easily... I know it sounds so bad saying this. He could have been easily up at Hydralisk Den and at 70 drones, but the thing is, he could have just died also to an attack, so it is hard to say.
Yeah, you're right.
But in this case, he's got a lot of units out there which aren't really doing anything for this time being. And Zerglings and Roaches are not what you want in small numbers to be able to deal with a lot of Stalkers, +2, and Sentries with Force Fields naturally. You want to be able to get in some key tech, which is either the Hydralisk Den, the Infestation Pit, which, by the way, has just been spotted by that Phoenix.
Huge amounts of Roaches, which they can't do anything at that third, because it is closed off. The Sentries should be able to shut that out. That is a paltry force compared to what we're seeing Rain have at that location. He's splitting it up, though.
If Rain moves out now, he will hit before the Swarm Host come out, which is a beautiful timing upon seeing when that Infestation Pit was built.
Here comes the delay, though. The delay from him. Actually, he's just moving out into the middle anyway. He has been greeted by a force. He gets blinked on top of and shut down a lot of these Roaches. So that third base for Soulkey might be in a little trouble, but at the same time, these Roaches aren't doing too badly in the third base as well.
He recalls.
Has to be done. Has to be done. At least he traps all of those roaches in, but he did lose 7 workers during it and bought time off the back for Enduring Locust, for Swarm Host to be out on the field.
That last couple of minutes was better for Soulkey.
Yeah.
I wonder if Rain could have tried to have defended with what he had there. He definitely could have sniped the third. Let's just say it that way. I think he could have continued to warp in units defensively, even if it's just simple Zealots, and then snipe the third. I think that would have been the better choice, but it's very difficult to call in the heat of the battle.
Counter coming again to try and draw this army back. Is Rain going to react? He warps in some units here, just a few Zealots, as this army sees Locusts and hightails it out of there. Doesn't want any part of that.
All right, so does he try to look for a different way, or is he just going to fully retreat? He does have the Warp Prism, remember, to the right-hand side.
And he's going to have to make good use of it.
It's already been tracked.
Yeah, not much to be able to do there.
All right.
Force fields lie down, and this is going to be drawn out again.
There's no open door for Rain. He has to back off and now fall back to the double Colossus production and probably throw down a fourth base.
And then from that point on, at least all of Rain's movements and everything that's played out in this game has made sure that the creep spread isn't that good for Swarm Host and Locust at the 40-minute mark. Normally, if you see someone do that, the creep is a bit further out.
Yeah, that's what he's got to focus on now. Build up an army while harassing the 4th base, the creep, and inside the main base with the Warp Prism.
Oh, this is a nice move by Rain, though. Does he have recall? He does have recall for that Mothership core, so he can grab this 4th. There you go, it's cancelled, guys. And then maybe just walk on back, or at least recall on back, because again, Locusts are there and in plenty of numbers.
Few Mutalisks being added on to be able to deal with this Warp Prism, and multiple other Warp Prisms.
Nice little addition. Oh, Lings get caught off at the back. Make sure that you can't actually flood on forwards to deal with those Stalkers, and does have to recall out, doesn't certainly want to be sitting around there for too long.
I don't think he's going to commit to the Mutalisks. There's quite a few already, though. I mean, he's gone up to 6, and +1 attack is being researched. +1 attack can be for later on. Corruptors now. A good mix of units here from Soulkey. With adding on Corruptors, will deal with the Colossus well. And he's planning to be quite aggressive with Swarm Host from this point, obviously. And it's going to be around the 4th of the Protoss. This is going to be a very difficult and interesting time here for Rain in the next couple of minutes.
His +3 lines up nicely with a couple more Colossi coming out, so maybe he wants to pressure with that. He will be maxed out, but again, he's going to have to look for really good angles, because the Swarm Hosts are a pain to deal with. There's going to be Corruptors to bring down those Colossi as well, and he's opting to go for what looks like a surround maneuver here with those Lings and Roaches on this right-hand side. This could be great if he gets on top of the Colossi, but he might not let that happen.
Well, the Protoss army is in pretty decent position right now. Counterattack from Soulkey could force a recall. The Zerglings and Roaches getting on the cannons, and the Mules doing some damage, but no, Rain is already on process of tracking this down.
There's a lot of Stalkers he has in this army. 41 does provide a lot of firepower, and again, remember they have Blink. We saw how much Blink was able to do. He actually catches a huge portion of this army, so that's a brilliant trade here so far for Rain. Really, really well done. Good maneuvering.
Yeah, he followed the army along the right-hand side and trapped a lot of it. Very nice move there by Rain. Does this open up a window for him, though? A force-filled window is always available, usually, where he can poke in, force field off, and then recall out.
Well, Soulkey looks very confident in the number of Swarm Hosts as well as Corruptors he had, because he added on 11 extra drones during all of that. No doubt for some static defense, but it might not even have time to go.
There's only 12 Swarm Hosts. I'm a little bit worried. He's got to get rid of these Colossus.
Yeah, maybe those drones were a little bit overzealous there, but yeah, you're right. He can't really get rid of these Colossi at this point. That's still a lot of Stalkers at the front that are zoning out and trying to do some damage to these Corruptors. Also, trying to come in the back from the Lings. They actually do grab themselves one Colossus, but he doesn't have very many Corruptors left here. 7, and they're not able to get on top of the Colossi.
2 observers with the army. If he gets on top of these Swarm Hosts, it's lights out.
Yeah, he does corrupt them, trying to bring these down. One of them ends up falling, but he blinks forwards on top of some of these Swarm Hosts. All he has to do really is kill the Corruptors. There's not that many left. Yeah. And those Swarm Hosts on the left-hand side, they're just in a terrible position.
And this is going to be lights out here. Look at the supply difference.
It's huge, absolutely massive. Army supply 97 against 28. GG, Rain is able to take game number 3 here, and is 1 game away from moving on to the round of 4.
It's a difficult game to look at as Soulkey here, because he's caught in 2 minds, I feel, a lot of the time, whether it's droning or building units. His attack paths are... He's looking for opportunities, yet finding none. There's no killer decisions coming out from Soulkey here. He's like, I'm going to do this, and this is how it's going to go down, this is how you're going to die. There's none of that assertiveness coming out of him.
It's middle of the road in the end, and unfortunately for Soulkey, it's not really paying off. Again, you know, going for Swarm Hosts like that, it's all good and dandy to be able to keep you well defended, but if you don't have the creep spread to complement it, then you can't be aggressive yourself, which Swarm Hosts would love to be in that situation, but that wasn't the case. As Rain now is able to take game number 3.
With the next map being Varney Research Station. And then Catalina, if need be, afterwards. So if Soulkey can survive this and find himself on Catalina, obviously going to be looking good, but Varney Research Station can be good for Zerg. It's got that pocket expansion, which you can take for your own. It's got a very open third base that the Protoss must take. It is a very small and narrow map where Swarm Hosts and Hydralisks are going to be powerful on. I'm excited to see how this will play out.
Likewise, because between these two, it doesn't get much more tense. These guys, again, play at some of the highest levels of StarCraft 2, and it's, again, a treat to actually watch them play this out here. Rain 1 game away. Soulkey, I would love to see him tie it up. Go all 5 games. We haven't had, we haven't had a 5-gamer yet today.
Every game's been 3-1 apart from Partinger Classic, which was just 3-0.
Right, so Varney Research Station. Are there any particular go-tos that you like from either side here on a map like this?
I prefer the safe Protoss approach.
Yeah.
You know, because of how exposed this third can be, I do like the Nexus first, the Oracle, into, you know, taking this third base comfortably, and then going on with Blink Stalker and from this point on and +2 attack. Soulkey, though, it's hard to say. The style I've seen with the most success and played with the most success is a very solid Swarm Host game. Because of how narrow it is, how and where the 4th base must be taken and where it must be taken as Protoss can be very difficult and can be slowed down, if not denied a lot. But I don't know how Soulkey's going to approach this.
I've seen Ling Hydra actually work out really well. Like a real power up to it when the 3rd base is being taken, because it is so wide open, because it's so hard for Protoss to cover all the big concave that you do have there.
Yeah, it's very good if you can play greedy and get away with it and find yourself there at a good time early enough where the Protoss isn't ready. The problem is that Soulkey has been playing very cautiously. He's not really running risks that can speed him up to get to that type of play, and by the time if he tried to go there, it's too slow and Rain is ready, so it's a very difficult thing to balance. All
right, well, we're getting into this now. Game number 4 to find out if Rain can move on to the round of 4 or if Soulkey can tie it up 2-2. I would love to see a 5th game, but Rain did look good there in game number 3. As we have spawning up to the north position, it's our blue Zerg. Representing TCM, it is Soulkey. And down to the south, it's our red Protoss, 1 game away from advancing on. Representing my insanity, it is Rain.
Well, we are going to see a drone scout from Soulkey again. So have a look at what Rain's up to very early on.
I like it. Gives him peace of mind and allows him to make a few decisions. Did he get any probes, though, with those 6 Zerglings last game?
He did not, unfortunately.
A bit of a sting, on a map like this as well, because the Nexus is into your main base. Might make it a little bit harder. I mean, the natural, But regardless, we'll see what he wants to opt for here.
Well, Rain, at the moment, is looking at a Nexus first. This could be blocked by this by this drone, excuse me.
Yep, could.
Depending on what he sees. Oh, he's going to go around. Ooh. He's going to block it and...
Oh.
No, he's not. He's going to follow it down, and he can block for a little bit here. It's going to be very difficult to actually squeeze the hatch down, but he can at least delay the Nexus.
Yeah. There's very, very little to no chance that a drone is going to be allowed to throw down a hatchery with 2 probes there, that's for sure. So.
Well, he's already delayed this quite a lot. Delayed it by about 10 seconds.
And over the other side, it's going to be hatchery first, because
may go 3 hatch. May go 3 hatch. Possibly Nexus first.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, what reason is there not to at this point?
And he's going to go and see the gateway too, so it's not a forward, so he doesn't need to be worrying about cannon rush on his 3rd.
Yep. So
I like this approach. I really like the way that Soulkey's approached this one.
Do you think there's a good potential here for Soulkey to be more committed down one path from a 3-hatch opener?
Absolutely. And the reason for that is because he's going to have a lot more lava to play with. And he can choose very decisively which way he goes. Is he going to use this lava to be greedy and drone up? Is he going to use this additional lava for an attack onto that 3rd?
Either option is actually really good on this map. So we'll see what he wants to do in a bit.
So he knows that with the, he knows that the gateway's there, so he knows the Cybercore is going to be coming down soon, and he's also kind of found where at least one of the pylons is. He should know, no, 2, sorry, because he knows where the gateway pylon is, so he knows where 2 of the pylons are. This Overlord inside the main base should swing to the left. It's going to be very easy to go in to check those 2 pylons with that Overlord. And he has a second Overlord around that isn't too far away either to make sure he spots the right location to find where this tech is.
Yeah, wouldn't even mind that second Overlord heading towards the natural, just to be able to poke in at that location, so that this one has an opportunity to go down to that bottom left, as you were mentioning.
There's two ways that he could do it. Yes, he could go to the natural, like you suggest, and have a look if there's any tech choice there, or he hovers around where the third base is, sacrifices the one that's already in, and the other one looks, is that third there, yes or no?
Yeah, good options overall. Stalker's going to be pumped out here for Rain. No pylons down in this natural just yet. It's going to be the Stargate, and actually just out of range of that Overlord as it flew out. But again, the second one's going to spot it in about a second.
Very good start here for Soulkey. Everything's going the way that you'd want it to go if you were the Zerg playing right now. You've got your 3 hatcheries down, you've got a great opening, you've seen that the Stargate's in, so you know that you're going to have to throw a couple of spores down. The question for Soulkey is, next, is it going to be followed up with the Nexus, which is why that Overlord must go back to check that Nexus, or is it going to be followed up by some form of attack?
Like the gateways.
Like the gateway attack, which could punish greed. But by the looks of Rain's build, as the map hackers that we are, it's a Forge, which is pushing him towards cannons, which is pushing him towards that third Nexus. That is the next crucial key that Soulkey must find.
Yeah. Oh, even sees Phoenix actually being produced instantly off the back of that. So, yeah, with the Forge, with the ability to go for cannons, he'll be A-OK. If he wants to go for a third base, but of course he's going to have to establish that a little bit slower on this map, considering how wide it is open.
Loving Soulkey's greed. 6 minutes 30, no gases.
Nice.
Drone Central.
Yeah.
You want a ticket to Drone Central? I got one free. You want to go with Soulkey? It's fine with me.
Damn. I was halfway through that. I was expecting it all, and it was great. So
it's 7 minutes and he hasn't taken gases.
Jeez. Well,
Todd is looking at the screen, shaking his head.
He's so angry. Look at him.
Todd would have foregate this guy.
He's so angry.
Todd would have foregate.
Well, all right.
So may Rain. so may Rain if we look in the game.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, that's certainly a possibility as well. But Sport Callers at least are on the way to deny any kind of air harassment that does come along. Twilight Council is going to be thrown down as well with this to aid the help. But I don't know, for Soulkey, if there was any good commitment to go down a path, it's this one for the greed, and just a few lings were being sprinkled in there, but the Spore Call should be able to keep him A-OK.
But the thing is the way that Rain has built up what he has, it is so very defensive. Like, he doesn't really know what has been going on in this game, and only just has he kind of had a look at the drone count around the third, but hasn't really added much information to what he knows. So he's got 4 gateways, a lot of sentries, and a really late third against a Zerg who's played incredibly greedy. It's like I would say, a perfect situation here for Soulkey. He's not being punished. He's gotten away with what he's up to. He's going for double evolution chamber. I wonder if that's going to be Zerglin upgrades, but we'll come back to that when it's done. But overall, this is a really, really good game for Soulkey.
With the Roach Warren going down as well, with the evolution chambers, is the potential for him to go for range and then have a really good transition into swarm hosts?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it depends on the way he wants to play it.
Yeah.
He could go for missile attacks. He could go for melee. Melee is very good for Zergling run-bys and counter-attacks while trying to go swarm host anyway. The Roach Warrior is pretty defensive overall in case there is a push-out where he needs Roach kind of defense overall.
But the other side of the spectrum is what you were hinting at. Wait a minute, he's making another Roach Warren. I'm not sure if he's cancelled the first one or not, but yeah, he's making another Roach Warren.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, but he's going for melee upgrades regardless. So
yeah,
this is very, very interesting for this map. If you can get good surrounds as your opponent's coming around the middle of the map, then you can get so much surface area. And
the Infestation Pit and Spy being thrown down, so it's probably going to be Swarm Hosts. It could still be like Ling Infesta, but it's less likely. But overall, I'm looking at Rain, and he doesn't have that many gateways. He's gone up to 6 now.
Yeah.
7 in total, sorry. So 7 gateways, but with the production, creep, money, and the amount of units that Soulkey can build, I don't think Rain's movement out shortly with +2 and Blink can achieve that much.
I'd be the happiest person alive if he eventually got Ultralists in this game, but the game has a little long way to go before that happens. 24 Zerglings in production as he sees this movement out.
Yeah, and there's a counter-attack set up. Soulkey's stepping it up. He was behind, he still is behind, but he's at least playing a lot better in this game.
Oh, yeah. He's got a good little bit of room here to wiggle around in, and if he is able to find a few probes in this third base, then that'll be fantastic for him. This small force all gathers up, but the Zerglings are already in this mineral line, and there's only 2 cannons to be able to fend that off. They do push it away with the aid of some zealots that were hidden in that mineral line, but Force Field's trying to get on top of this. The ball upgrades are not done yet for these melee upgrades, but still, the Zerglings are able to get on top of it, and with the Queen's support, yes, he'll probably be able to get the denial on the 4th base, but he can't stick around for much longer.
He does have recall at any time he wants.
Has to get out of there.
Yeah, there was no pylon close, there was no dedication to that. It's just a bit of a poke, see what's up. And the game's going to move on to the next stage now. So we're going to have Colossus production come into play. There is a Warp Prism that's going to try and harass this back base. And that's actually something that you can exploit as a Protoss, because Zerg is expanding further and further out. And the army's obviously going to be out as well. If you swing the Warp Prism to that back top right base, you catch him off guard, you're going to find yourself a free base.
Plenty more gateways to aid in that assault as well, as he's got a few Mutalisks being added on here. They will shut down the potential of anything coming along if he's able to spot it nice and early. But that's still a lot of Zerglings trying to find angles to not only delay, but also if they were able to find some kind of good spot on like isolated sentries, anything like that.
Rain is well saturated on these 3 bases. He's building up nicely. That Warp Prism's on its way, but has been found on the right-hand side, unfortunately.
70 probes to 66 drones, so a lot of income here for Rain across these 3 bases.
And never underestimate Stalkers with some good force fields in support. They can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, force fields and then having to blink, blink, blink. It's all nice.
And there's a small window here before these Swarmos are really out, and he's going to grab this 4th again.
Mutalisks on the natural, killing off the cannon. There are Stalkers to be able to push that away, though, as well. As I'm not sure what that was going to accomplish. So there was good defense setup.
Yeah, nice pickup of that 4th hatchery.
Yep, very well done.
And Rain can fall back again, adding on more and more Colossus to his composition.
Sees the extent of the swarm host in the middle of the map. 3 extra going to be added on to that.
So at this point in a game of StarCraft, you want to be setting yourself goals. Soulkey's goal is to get this 4th up and add a lot of Swarmos and build that count up that he can protect the 4th base against these small movements out. Rain's goal, on the other hand, is to build up an army. He would have loved to harass that backside, so that's still a part of his plan. Build up, find holes, find weaknesses, slow Soulkey down, and then like in the previous game, once you get an advantage, finish him off. Unfortunately for Rain, it's not going to be as easy as this previous one.
No, not at all. There's a Hive now on the way with +2 melee weapons actually starting after the +1 range for the Swarm Host to keep the mid-ground pretty much uncontested here for Rain. He is pushing forwards. How many Swarm Hosts does he have? He's at 15. It's a little bit better a count than last game.
15 is okay. 15 is okay against this.
Should be able to delay.
But there are no Vipers, there are no air units. Dealing with the Colossus can be rough.
It's all only Zerglings, actually, to speak of. There's a few Mutalisks out, but the Zerglings are having to pin back some of the Stalkers before they actually rendezvous with the army at the top. And
Rain is on search for that 4th hatchery.
And this army is being extremely aggressive onto the creep here.
Well, he wants that 4th hatchery again.
Yeah. There's a lot of lurk.
If he can get it. Soulkey's very close to having the right amount of Swarm Hosts again.
He can throw down force fields and get this.
Yeah.
This is getting a bit out of hand here for Soulkey.
Doesn't want to take too many losses to these Locusts, and he's not really taking that many losses, to be honest. He's dealing with this well.
Yeah, had to pull back the Colossus there, as it did find itself a bit more at the front of that. But he still has a lot of Stalkers reinforcing. The Zerglings are trying to catch the pylons on the back, but Time Warp's going to slow down some of these Locusts. He's actually pushing forwards against this, feeling that he has that 4th base. It does end up falling on the left-hand side, so Soulkey is kind of starved in terms of income.
But Rain is taking a lot of hits. He's got to be careful.
He is losing a lot to these Locusts. The resources lost now in favor of Soulkey. Time Warp once again to try and deny this. He doesn't have any energy for recall, so he's got to do something here or get on out. The Zerglings wrap around.
Yeah, any pro pylons, any loose units they can find is a bonus.
Good transfuses on some of those Cruxes as well to keep them alive, but he blinks forwards here, right on top of them. Rain may be overextending a little bit with some of these Stalkers into the Locusts.
He's very keen on ending the game here.
Yeah, it really does feel like it. I don't know if he's going to pull back for a second.
And I think the Hive is done. If we see a couple of Vipers squeezed out, to drag them over the force fields to bring the Colossus to the Locusts.
There's adrenal glands on the way as well for this prolonged Zergling production that he's been going for.
Soulkey's very, very well done there by cleaning up the pylons behind it, pushing Rain back, and he can retake the 4th. Very delicate couple of minutes there for Rain, who did take a lot of losses, but he wasn't able to finish the game, so he is forced into the next part. The fourth Nexus must go down, and now he needs to choose what he's going to do to combat the Swarm Host and Locust and the air units here.
I was going to say, is there a potential that we could even see the Great Aspire come in from what we're seeing?
I don't think there's enough resources to make that work yet, not off 3 bases.
Yeah, you've got a good point there, actually. With the 4th base being denied as much as it is, that's why now we're seeing actually 2 hatcheries taken at the same time here by Soulkey to really try and get that going. But Rain is active. Rain is killing off that gold base, making sure that's not going to happen. And on the left-hand side, what is that actually heading up? There's a probe on the left-hand side, throwing down pylons to be able to pressure the 4th once again.
So Rain from this point has different choices to choose. And he's already chosen one, but it could have been the Dark Templar instead of the Templar Archives. It could have been a second robotics facility. It could have been a bunch of Stargates to go air. He's chosen the Templar Archives, and this is staying true to how he's played this game out so far. He wants to get Storm, he wants to bulldoze down the Locust, and then just overwhelm with Stalkers and Colossus, with a few Void Rays by the looks of it as well.
Is there going to be a good window at all for him here? Or because, again, Soulkey is just upgrading across the board on everything at the moment.
This style, I think, is difficult to pull off. So I really think it's going to be hard for Rain. I prefer if he's just accepted that this game is going to go very long and he wants to add on a bunch of Stargates and just goes up to Tempest and starts to play like that. But he's adamant about trying to win this one before it goes super long.
Yeah, nice attempt to blink up into the main base here, but those Zerglings not only have +2 weapons, but they also have Adrenal Glands, so it's going to do a lot of damage. And there are some Zealots on the left-hand side here on the 4th base trying to do something. Well, he could actually lock that down with a Fungal, but it doesn't in the end. The Queens with the Mutalisks coming back to try and deal with some of these Stalkers, but that was a lot of sacrifice Stalkers for just a trade-off of some army here.
But he doesn't want to play with Stalkers anymore, so he's getting as much value from them as possible. Unfortunately, these Zealots are thrown to the waste. There's already Swarmhost waypointed there, expecting some type of move like this.
And the Stalkers eventually will be cleaned up, but after quite a lot of trading, he actually made a Warp Prism. One died, then made another Warp Prism, and then now that's on the field, and he's got another Warp Prism in production. So Rain is playing a very harassment-based style here to get those transitions going.
I want to see some Vipers now.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, especially as we're seeing the Stargates actually come in. I mean, he needs to be able to drag some of these units out eventually.
I mean, I'm very unaccustomed to Korean Swarmhost play. The European play is much different, much different. This is a lot more aggressive. There's no Vipers in play at all, which the Europeans are very much so all about to get the most cost-efficient trades. There's minimal static defense around as well, which means these bases are very abusable to this Warp Prism.
Starts Carapace for air as well.
And the crease spread's not that good either at the moment. So, it has been denied well.
There's just so many upgrades across the board. As I was saying before, it's a very interesting way he's playing this out and really diversifying his tech overall. There's the Fleet Beacon on the way here for Rain, who...
Transfuses!
Keep alive. Needs that economy. Absolutely needs that economy at this point.
Yeah, he's okay on the bases he's got. He's actually more than fine on these bases. Taking a new base is a luxury at this point. Doesn't need a new base at all, but you know, it's good if he can get it.
Here comes the Warp Prism again, or at least Warp Prism number 2 or 3.
There's just no static defense, you see. He's going to get ripped apart unless he starts adding on a lot of units to do with it.
Yeah.
He's using Zerglings more than static defense here, but he's spreading himself.
Yeah, and the Stalkers killed off the Mutalisks prior, so the Warp Prism went completely uncontested.
And don't you think it's a better idea to have a line of Spore Crawlers that just prevent the Warp Prism going in rather than running Zerglings around all the time? And as we can see, even Zerglings aren't going to prevent this hatchery from going down.
Yeah, it's not really helping him too much. Also, the Mothership Core is turning into an actual Mothership. So this army we're seeing from Rain is gathering a lot of power behind it, who could just push forwards, and it's going to be difficult for the Swarm Host to do a huge amount once the Mothership is there, because there's no Viper to pull the Mothership away from the army.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to get some soon, there's no doubt. But there's going to be a Warp Prism Templar Storm onto the drone line, I suppose. It isn't really big over there.
I've got this worried feeling and sensation for Soulkey in the pit of my stomach. Do you echo these sentiments? Because right now, a storm is going to hit a lot of that. There wasn't that many drones down to the south, but he did get some up to the north of that mineral line. And can he get out?
As the Warp Prism was being chased there, you see an upgrade that kicked in was a Chromatic Drive. He's like, yeah, best get that, actually.
Run away!
This Warp Prism could get tracked down.
Yeah, gets the gold base on this right-hand side, too. Again, his economy is going to look pretty nice after this. +3 air weapons now for these Corruptors. And later units. But here's the mothership, and that's going to help this army out a whole lot without any Vipers on the field. And Tempest, 15 Mutalisks actually get added to the production. An odd choice here for Soulkey.
Yeah, very odd choice. There's a lot of Stargates out there. The reason why it's an odd choice is a lot of Stargates out there. Phoenixes can be easily built. The Stalkers have fantastic upgrades. They can be warped in easily.
I mean, it would have made... it kind of would have made sense to me if he'd have had an amazing economy and was able to pump out a lot of them, and more Storms able to hit some of these drones. It's really bringing down that income. If you look at the income tab, Rain has huge lead there.
Yeah, he does with this new base, this new gold base being taken. Absolutely. Very
well done. Rain's played this out nicely so far.
Well, is he going to be able to play it out nicely on this expansion of his on the left?
Well, it's easy. It starts the Anion Pulse Crystals to try and bring down some of these with some Phoenix later on, but he can buy time with the rest of his anti-air for that to gain momentum. Has to be careful. Doesn't want to lose too much. Whoop! All right, okay. Were there any Storms even with the army? That's what I was whooping at. But
just in the Warp Prism on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, there was quite a few actually with the army.
So doesn't know about this gold base on the right-hand side. Getting Burrow, just everything. Soulkey just taking absolutely everything and using that. Should be able to push this away, but they did get some a few Corruptor shots there.
Not the best creep. He's not really focused on his creep spread very much. And it's a very important factor when playing this style. Very important.
You know what's funny is that Soulkey had a great opener to go for like down a straight path, but everything has been all over the place.
Yeah, and look now, the mothership has joined the army. He can't even, he can fungal, I suppose, but...
Yeah, can't see it from that point on.
Unless he dives at the mothership with his air army, there's no way to reveal this army properly.
I think he's going to have to. I think he's actually going to have to. The Spores see it at the front for a sec, but... I mean, that was a little bit of damage done. He's actually going to just try and dive on this. There are some High Templars there for Storms, but they really don't hit the mark with that. The mothership is actually going to fall, and Locust will be able to push this away for now. Soulkey at 200 supply, over 150. Storms again on this base, over to the left-hand side. The Swarm Hosts have to reposition themselves because he doesn't have many more units at all to be able to deal with anything.
Soulkey is building a lot of Mutalisks more.
Yeah, he's going to keep going.
A 15 a day. He's going to go up to like 40 Mutalisks here.
I mean, those were the numbers we were talking about earlier, but he's just kind of got there in steps as opposed to one big burst.
Rain doesn't know about this. He has no idea. And this army's charging at him. Soulkey's moving down off creep with Swarm Hosts, with Mutalisks, with Corruptors in support too. This is his choice of competition. And there isn't that much anti-air here.
Yeah.
The Mutalisks could win it for him.
They could. They really could. Unit count, I mean, he has 7 Stalkers, 1 Templar, 2 Phoenix. That's really it. And he's just lost a load of the Stalkers as well. Does he even have the money to really start replenishing? He has no gas to his name, Sean.
This is a little bit crazy right now. The Swarm Hosts is launching themselves towards, or the Swarm Hosts towards this Nexus.
It's one way to stop a little bit of production, I guess.
Yeah.
But
blow her up.
Yeah. These Colossi.
Look.
Storms.
He's trying to add on more Phoenixes. He only got 4 right now, but there's a lot of Corruptors with this too.
I mean, he doesn't have enough to stop everything. That's the problem. That really is the problem. Another Storm lands, but it doesn't really hit anything.
Soulkey is looking like he's being able to win this one.
What a bizarre game.
It's a bizarre game because it's not the traditional Swarm Host that we're used to seeing. And then on the other side of things, Rain is just what is this game?
It's crazy.
It's very difficult to really understand how to exactly play as this with Rain with so limited resources.
It's crazy. It's all over the place. The Mutalisk Corruptors are going to bring down any kind of Colossi that do enter the fray. The base on the left-hand side has been taken down. Does he even know about? He still doesn't know about the gold base. But he's just pushing in for the win anyway. Taking out all of these positions from Rain is just going to cause him to have to tap out. There's not going to be much more he can do. Storms hit some of these Mutalisks once again.
There's no Storms left, though.
Exactly. There's nothing left. He can scratch them. He can scathe them, but he can't kill them off. As Soulkey now almost taking a 100 supply lead, very close to. Zealots are going to go to work on some of this income here, but he doesn't need the income at this point. His army is vastly outnumbering 131 army supply against 36.
Soulkey doesn't have that much money either, but there's real no way for Rain to deal with 17 Swarm Hosts that are just sitting outside his base.
Yeah, he has nothing left. He has nothing left. He's got a few Stalkers and Archon on the right-hand side. These Zealots on the other side are all he has. And there's nothing to even challenge the Swarm Host, let alone anything else.
I mean, he doesn't even have an Observer in the game, which is why he's adding on one on.
Yeah, I guess you kind of gotta. Does he have even any gas for a High Templar? No, not even that. So, I mean, Soulkey, with his ratio of income at the moment, could add on plenty of Infestors and still have a really, really well-rounded army at this point.
An absolutely bizarre game, but it is Soulkey that is looking to come out on top here to take it to Game 5. And it's been a wild one. It's been a fun one. Rain is just grabbing at straws now. Base trade, anything, eliminate him.
He's got to do something.
Is there some way that Rain can find himself still in the semifinals?
Well, he's going to have to try something miraculous here in this game if he wants to win this one. Swarmos on the gold base finally found it, shut down some of that, but these Zealots and Stalkers, technically he has no minerals to Soulkey, so any building that does come along.
The thing is, there are 3 drones, but they are in the top right-hand side.
Yeah.
So you've got to think about the structures which are left over here. There's an extractor which is to the left, which can easily get picked off, and everything else is inside the main here. Soulkey, despite looking like he could win this, could still be eliminated.
Could be, could be. The Swarm hosts have come back home because Soulkey realizes that that is a potential threat, and that's a lot of Mutalisks actually being able to shut down those Stalkers. He realized exactly he had to be able to bring these down, and will do in the end. Not much more left over here. All he has is 11 Zealots to really continue on this base trade, but it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough. Not with the Stalkers going down. He can't get rid of him fast enough. And unfortunately for Rain, how many gateways? He still has a few gateways left powered on. He's got a pile on this right-hand side that maybe he can still warp in and try to hunt these structures down. There's slightly too many, though. There's the remaining structures are all inside that back base, which is guarded on a ramp which is full of swarm hosts.
All right, well, it's going to be very difficult for him to do anything now. And that would mean the series being tied up 2-2 going on to a Game 5.
There is a Void Ray and there is a Warp Prism.
Ooh,
Kalaris, the structures remaining.
You're still clutching at straws, I think, here, Sean.
If it happens...
I mean, there is 16 Mutalisks and 22 Corruptors.
Which are on the other side of the map, just saying.
Okay, how many?
He's got a Void Ray and a Warp Prism.
Okay.
He can warp in units.
Oh, he could. Yeah, you're right. He could warp in
units. Here we go.
He's gonna go for it.
He's gonna go for it. Charge everything.
Let's get him.
Charge.
All right, what does he have? He has structures, press the T button, 1 hatchery, 2 extractors, and 1 spore crawler.
Well, he's going to get rid of these ones, but the problem is there's a spore crawler on the other side.
The 1 spore crawler is it, really.
He gets rid of those, and now there's 2 spore crawlers left. There's 1 with the Swarmos and 1 to the far left.
And he can make extractors with a few, 1 extractor.
He's like, there it is!
Get it! Warp Prism goes down. Void Ray goes down. GG! What a game!
Soulkey survives.
What a bizarre game, a bizarre turn of events from both sides of things, but Soulkey is able to tie it up 2-2. It was ambitious.
It was ambitious, but if that's the way, even if it's 5% chance...
He tried.
If he gets that 5% chance and moves on to the semi-finals, all to him.
It would have been absolutely amazing.
But Soulkey is the one to tie this series up. Game 5 for the first time today in the quarterfinals is going to happen. And I'm very excited for this.
So am I. Oh my god. It comes down to Game 5 between Rain and Soulkey. 2 players that have gone through StarCraft 2 after transitioning on from Brood War in such amazing fashion. Everyone looks at these 2 players and says they are 2 of the best in the world. And no one really ever disputes that. And now it comes down to the very end.
And one of them is eliminated. One will move on to the semi-finals and will play tomorrow against Maru, but for now, it's all down to a single map. And the last map is going to be Catalina, a map that we are so used to seeing that these players have played thousands of games on now. So the strategies have been revealed. Everything's on the line. This is a killer game. It's all or nothing now for these 2.
All right, well, join us after the break, guys, when you join us for Game 5, the final game of the day between Rain and Soulkey. All right, welcome back for one final game here between Rain and Soulkey. It's gone down to the wire, and very, very close in that one at the end, as Soulkey is able to tie it up 2-2. One final map, Catalina.
It's been a very funny series. If we just recap it for a couple of seconds here before jumping into this one. We started off with Soulkey looking very shaky. Game number 1, he got nailed down by a Dark Templar build, lost his third, and then just lost the game from there on out pretty much. Game number 2 was a shaky game from both sides. Soulkey very cautious in his play, not wanting to lose to any more tricks from Rain, as we saw in game number 1. Game number 3, pretty fun. Moving on to that last one, though, because that's the really, really interesting one. We saw this very different type and unique Swarm host play that is not the one we're used to seeing. You know, a lot of Europeans now waking up to watch this are looking at it and saying, well, that's just very different. You know, the creep spread isn't there. There's no static defense that we see so often. He's using Zerglings with speed for defensive reasons. He's playing Corruptor and Mutalist instead of Corruptor Viper. Just very different. But at the end of the day, it worked. Rain couldn't break away through. He couldn't build up that army. He couldn't get to where he wanted to be to kill off what Soulkey had. But it doesn't matter anymore. Game 5. From a simple 9-pool could win this game. Let's follow it from the start of this to see where we're going to go. It is all or nothing. One player moves on, one player goes home. Both deserving of it at this point.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Game 5 now, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. It's our blue Zerg representing TCM. It is Soulkey. And down to the bottom right-hand corner here on Catalina, as our red Protoss representing My Insanity, it's Rain.
A win here adds... Oh, it is a 9-pool!
Oh, Sean.
He's hoping for the Nexus first!
Oh, wow.
There is
a
very intelligent probe scout.
Yes, very.
That went to the left, looked to see if the... Because if you look at the other Overlord to the north now, the probe would have seen that Overlord, and then he would have gone and said, okay, you're there. But he didn't see it, so he went over to scout. This isn't, at the moment, the Nexus, but when he goes in, he wants to put that gateway down, and now he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute!
It gives him a great opportunity to be able to react a little bit here. Rain with a perfect little bit of scouting.
Oh, he's trying to do that. He's trying to wall off. Soulkey!
Uh-oh. Well, initially that was a really cool little block. And now Rain is going to have a bit of a harder time here. He's going to go straight for the wall to be able to deal with this.
He has the wall. I mean, his pylon's down there.
Yeah.
In my brain, I was like, okay, the pylon's by the Nexus, build a gateway. This is fine. Stay calm. The pylon's down here. He must make a wall.
He needs to get rid of this annoying drone.
The Lings are on the way.
There's another... All right. Well, if he breaks through, if he somehow breaks through...
He's not going to, I don't think, though.
He shouldn't be able to.
Just make a wall. He should be okay here. He's going to start to attack this. There is an expansion behind this as well, by the way, that Soulkey will put down.
Yeah.
But if these Lings break through and somehow manage to deal damage while expanding behind this...
I don't think there's enough.
It should be okay.
I don't think they can bring down the pylon in time to actually break through. It's going to be very, very difficult. If he... Is this actually going to go down?
Oh,
it's so close! Please don't die! Oh, the gateway block!
Just before the pylon disappeared.
All right.
Whew. Everybody,
calm down.
Calm down.
Chill.
Relax.
There was a cool little thing. The probe flicked back.
The game's going on.
The probe flicked back and I think saw the hatchery, right? So at least he got confirmation of the fact that it was going to be transitioned out of a little bit compared to just going for extra aggression off this. But at least also a Link was able to get in. And this is going to be quite pesky.
Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention. I was looking into the crowd. I don't know how the circling got in. Maybe it borrowed its way underneath the wall and jumped back up. But
definitely that.
It's inside the main base now, and it's going to have a free scout around. Maybe a probe kill or not. We'll have to watch that and be careful for any probe kills. That is very bad if Rain was allowing that to happen. But the game does move on with Rain with an advantage.
sacrificed a few Zerglings to get this Zergling in, so that cannon does have 4 kills at the front with that 7-8 score now, completing the idea of a wall off here.
And it's very lucky. Is it lucky? I don't even know if I can call it lucky. It's very fortunate that Rain had that probe scout, because if he hadn't have seen this, he was in trouble.
Oh, yes. I mean, he was
going for a Nexus first.
Exactly. They were banking up for that Nexus first. Oh, is that Zergling going to... I was going to say, if it does die to probes here, then it's a bit unfortunate there for Soulkey. The great thing about that Zergling is it is able to just run around in circles, potentially even spot this Stargate.
And just, if you just think about, anyone at home now, think about, at this point in the game, when a Protoss is on 2 bases, the Zerg's usually on 3. No, not this game. Unfortunately not. Soulkey can't afford it. He needs to be building up drones, and he's stuck on 2 bases. He's now scouted that the Stargate is there, which is more than likely going to see an Oracle come into play. The probe scouts the drone moving out, knowing that the 3rd hatchery is going to be on this left-hand side. But again, the question is, which way does Rain want to play this out? Does he want to go Oracle into some form of attack, or does he go Oracle to a fast 3rd and play it out like nothing has happened, yet he's at an advantage?
Well, at least he's not too bothered about the idea of that Zergling having spotted the Stargate, because otherwise he wouldn't have thrown it down before he actually killed it off. So it's going to be Phoenix.
Okay.
I think this is the better option after that Zergling spotted it. You don't want to just have Spores deny your Oracle.
So he's going to go, he's going to go with Phoenixes over the Oracle here. How many Phoenixes we don't know. And the Zergling has spotted the Phoenix, saw it pop out, and saw another one being built.
And that was very smart to move that Overlord away as quick as he did do, because that Phoenix would have almost had a guaranteed kill.
And right now, Rain is playing a very old style and old build. The old way to do this would be to add on 2 more gateways very shortly while adding on sentries consistently, to then move over to take the 3rd base, to add the Robo, to go Phoenix Colossus, a much older style. Will he go down that pathway? Does he want to take... Okay, he's chosen to go Robotics Facility first here, so he may still go for this 3rd base all in all, but we'll see if he does. But the Robotics Facility now really rushes out Colossus in this game, really fast. It makes attacks very powerful, makes his defense very powerful against any basic maneuvers that Soulkey tries to pull against that 3rd. But at the moment, it does look like he's playing an older style, something that he was very much used to doing a long time ago.
And that old style does allow Protoss to have good denial of map vision from the Zerg's point of view. I mean, if something were to move out, Soulkey has to be very, very careful about where he's positioning a lane or anything like that to spot when something's happening.
Well, let's see if he does go down that pathway. He's still open up to multiple different choices. So...
There's the Robo Bay.
There is the Robo Bay. So, okay, so he's still going down that pathway. Let's look at Soulkey for a second. So he's got his circling speed down. He's pumped out quite a few drones while this has been going on. He's gambled in the fact that there isn't going to be a gateway follow-up because he skipped the Roach Warren and he's cut corners to get back in this game. He's cut corners to make sure he's okay.
Just the 5 Phoenix, no extra production of those, and there's the 3rd base going down. And again, because he had those Phoenix pushing everything away, this hasn't been noticed for a while, and gets himself a few more drones too. There is still that Overlord on the left-hand side that could potentially spot, but also Lings in the middle of the map are looking to go over to that 3rd to confirm.
Yeah, and right now, I would imagine Soulkey's crossing his fingers and his toes, hoping that a 2-base attack is not off the back of these Phoenixes. It's very unlikely, but has happened before, and Zerg players have lost.
Sees the 3rd base, going to have to be a little bit happier about that.
Yes,
and
definitely.
It's still drones, drones, drones. 6 on the way to get him up to around that 66 mark.
And if he goes, okay, Infestation Pit. I was going to say, if he goes Hydralisk, this becomes very awkward because there's already a lot of Colossus on the way, and it wouldn't work and he'd be hitting a brick wall. He's chosen the Infestation Pit, which, as we've seen, he has preferred to use Swarm Host now. So he's going to be very important for Soulkey to lock himself down on these 3 bases and get that Swarm Host count up.
Yeah, going to be drawing this out. And also, the one thing that's really nice here for Soulkey is that actually, compared to every other game that he's been playing in this series, his creep spread's looking pretty good. So this could aid him quite heavily in terms of being even a little bit more forwards with those Swarm Hosts once they do come out.
Absolutely. Let's see what kind of wacky way Soulkey's going to play this out.
All right, well, there's Enduring Locust on the way, as is Gloory Constitution for the Roaches. Twilight Council's about to finish up with an extra 3 gateways walling off that third base to lock it down just a little bit more, but the Phoenix are still doing damage. Resources lost is almost up at 1,000 against only 100.
Rain hasn't found the infestation pit yet.
Did he really not? I
No,
thought he
he
did.
switched from Colossus to Immortal.
Oh, wow.
He sees roach speed being researched, and he thinks a lot of roaches are being made.
Oh, those Phoenix were just on the very edge of spotting it there
I
as
can't
well.
believe he hasn't noticed yet. He thinks he's
Yeah.
playing against roaches.
He really? Oh, okay, now he's going to see it. He has to see it.
And
yeah,
he
there
should,
we go.
yeah, and now, to be honest, the Immortal's useless, but he might as well keep it and just go into the Colossus next again.
It's almost done. So Phoenix going to dive into the main, get a few more of these drones, and he still starts another Immortal here, Sean. A little bit suspect. A little bit suspect with only one Colossus to push back any kind of Locust
Yeah, he
waves.
cancelled in and went over.
There we go. Okay. Realized.
Yes, and it would have been very bad for his game. He's got an Observer right above Swarmos in the middle of the map, so...
Well, there's the 4th base going down on the right-hand side here for Soulkey, who's, again, got to reiterate, creep spread is looking good with all these queens pushing it out, and he's even going to throw down a static defense here.
Very good creep spread, very fast. Considering what's happened in this game and the way that he was behind, very good. Soulkey doesn't know that Rain is pushing up this left-hand side, and he's going to try to get to that hatchery. If he gets to that hatchery, there's a beautiful location. Force field, you only need about 4 or 5, which he has. You keep the Locust out, you kill it off. Soulkey doesn't know.
It's only a small
It's
force.
very difficult to get up there because there's a lot of creep. Now he knows. And it's like a charge. Go, 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 go to the hatchery. And can he force field it off?
He's going to have to try. The Swarm hosts are already up the ramp here partially, so I think it's going to be very difficult to do anything more here. There's not that many units for him at all. And even Locust from the back.
Not going to work.
Ooh, get out of there, Rain. Get out of there. Meanwhile, in Phoenix land, still more drones going down. He's got himself 20 workers. Wow.
Oh, I see a bit of a change from Soulkey. Notice how he's building a lot more roaches. I think this is because, think about the way that Rain played out last time. Very aggressive, in your face, attack, attack, harass, harass, harass with his bulk army. With the addition of these roaches, is that if Rain does the same, Soulkey just rushes him in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it could.
With a lot of roaches from a big angle.
Especially if he steps on creep. That'll be very, very scary. They could also be utilized for shutting down Warp Prism Harass, which there is one up to the top right, and they would be able to shut that down very, very quickly, or at least keep tabs on it. Not exactly shut it down, but something we have to consider.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be another use of these roaches.
8 Corruptors now on the way, with the Hive now morphing in as well. Swarm hosts still positioning themselves, and yeah, roaches are going to be able to jump on this as soon as they warp in. Actually lets them warp in, notice that, just to make sure he's able to get a few kills here. That was a smart decision making there by Soulkey. Very
nice, and his creep spread is gorgeous this game. He just needs to keep pushing it. Needs to keep pushing it out.
And it looks like he will be able to. There's too many angles for the creep spread to be shut down by just the small force of Rain in the middle. So if he even kills off some creep tumors somewhere, it's just going to be able to push on another angle.
Rain's army is not looking good, I don't think, against the amount of Corruptors that we have in, and the Swarm Mass count is not big, but 12 is still decent. The scary part is Corruptors with Queens and Roaches supporting the Swarmos in this kind of combination together is going to be very difficult for Rain, I feel. Once the Colossus go down, it's a problem.
Surely it'll be even more even difficult for him to get a 4th base really up and running. It's on the left-hand side, but it's already been spotted. So bouncing between all of these locations where Soulkey could potentially hit might be difficult. It's going to get this. No, actually, I say that, and there's plenty of damage there being done.
A lot more Zealots thrown away.
Yeah. I don't think he can really afford too much of that. I mean, he has some bank, yes, but he's only at 150 supply. If Soulkey maxes out with good upgrades and just keeps pressing the issue through the map with these Locusts.
Well, we do see the Mothership on the way and multiple Void Rays. No. Cancelled, no, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no. No, yes, no.
I saw the Tempest for like a brief second, and he was like, no, can't
He is going to stick with Void Rays.
All right, +1 weapon starting for those Void Rays as well, so at least he has the upgrades to accommodate for an air transition. Templar Archives halfway complete during all of this, but again, as we were saying before, the 4th base, those roaches are right on top of it. If they focus on that, and they are going to, the sacrifice will not be in vain.
No, you don't need roaches anymore. I mean, you do, but at this point you can get rid of them. That's fine to do that.
Yeah, and that's one of the primary objectives. Bring down some extra bases on smaller sides. Has to cancel that warp in that he's going for as he realizes that there's the potential of those units getting back there to defend that. And carrier in... No. There is a carrier in production. There's a Great Aspire in production as well. All right, then. I wasn't expecting carrier, I'll be honest, Sean.
Neither was I. Neither was I. They can be very difficult to play against because of the way that the Corruptors kind of free fire out into the air.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, like just one of them is not good. By the way, there's a big warp in the main base it snuck in.
Yeah, very, very big. And that's a lot of Zealots trying to go to work here. You have to work at the Spine Crawlers to start things off. He's killed 31 drones during this game, but there's still 60 available to him. And actually going to maybe get a few roaches here as well. But the transfusers were good. Warp into some more Zealots to try and hinder anything that's going on here.
And Rain has been able to get into the middle of the map and get a lot of the creep tumors down.
And he cancelled the carrier, just so to note.
Okay.
So no carrier going to be present here. Storm is now on the way as well. Did he see the Great Aspire and everything that's included in that? Where even is the Spire?
I don't know. I know where it is. I'm just yeah, he has seen it.
Okay.
But Tempests are on the way, so.
All right.
So we're going to see a long game here. Objectively, once again, for both of these players, Rain is just looking to mass expand and is looking to build up a big army.
Yeah.
As simple as that sounds, Rain is looking to harass and just build up this army that cannot be defeated, which pretty much 9 times out of 10 is majority of it's going to be Tempest, supported by High Templar, with a couple of Colossus to help against the waves of Locust to keep the High Templar safe.
And unless he's actually going to get Viper, I really feel pulls are so important against having to go up against Tempests. The Broodlords aren't going to have too much fun at all.
And an Oracle needs to be squeezed out to hopefully get some vision onto the army so that these Tempests can maximize their range.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. And Vision's such a useful tool. More Corruptors going to be added on as well here, so eventually he's going to be having a lot
of Broodlords, but there's also quite a few Tempests now.
Yeah, I think there's 4 or so. Correct me. Yeah, 4 with a 5th being added on.
Yeah, and the Tempests are going to be able to almost, I mean, with this next one out, they're going to be one-shotting these Broodlords.
Yeah, that's a lot.
If they can get close, that is.
And again, right now, I don't think there's too much that's really going to zone them out. It's only Corruptors on the field. I really would like to see some Vipers mixed in, just in case they were to stray forwards and then have to be pulled forwards into that. These Zealots, though, these Warpins just continue on for range. Jeez.
And neither of them have a super large bank right now, so if this fight was to take place soon, which Soulkey is pushing for, it could be a decider one. It really could be.
I mean, I can understand why both of them are taking it so slow, because it is the last game in the series, and it does mean the difference between round of 8 and round of 4.
Yep.
And further on, potentially. The Tempests are going to cause a problem. Oh, if you could get the upgrade, that would be nice. It's only just started, so... It's an alright pickup, though.
Well, now Ray knows exactly where the Stormers are coming from, and he's going to have to try to deal with this. Does not want to just allow the siege onto the natural. He's harassing at the same time, which is very smart to do.
Good angle for those Colossus to clean that up fast. And even more Zealots still working away at this.
He is wearing Soulkey down, and with a Warp Prism to the right-hand side, he's going to continue to do that. But does Rain have enough in the air? And supported by some storms or something here. I don't even know if he has a lot of High Tempo. No, he has 6. That's pretty good.
All got a lot of energy as well. There's Roaches on the 4th base trying to shut that down, but he actually killed off the 3rd base of Soulkey.
Soulkey's given up his back. His back end, his bases, his economy, he's given up. It doesn't matter anymore. It's about the army that he has.
And it's such a slow army as well. Rain can keep dancing around for a while against this. How much?
He's got to utilize Tempest here.
Yeah.
They outrange everything there. And then he's got to use Storms, the mothership, to protect them in case the Corruptors launch themselves at it. Like I said, he needs to squeeze an Oracle out now. He needs to get some vision here where he can stop dealing damage from a long distance.
Adding on Void Race for the defense. There's a Viper being added on, but...
That can be a problem if it grabs the mothership, for example.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much gas at all to work with off the back of that, so he's not going to have too many of these to even replenish or anything. Whilst Rain still has a sizable economy on the left-hand side of the map. That could really win him out this game if Soulkey isn't careful.
I really think the Oracle's a smart choice, but he's also adding on a lot of Void Rays. Void Rays do beat Corruptors eventually, but he only has a few.
Yeah. And there's the Tempest now getting a few shots off, get themselves one Broodlord.
Needs more of those, needs more of those.
Yeah. And again, there's nothing to zone it out. If he has the vision, there's nothing to zone it out right now. That one Viper, I mean, where is it? It's now flying across, but it doesn't even have energy for an abduct at all.
Oh, clearing up some static D while you can. Might as well, these Stalkers.
Yeah, poking forwards. Those Locust waves being thinned out for a second there. But now here comes the army. Soulkey, are you going to push in?
There's a lot of Storm Archons.
Oh, grabs the mothership core with that one abduct that he does have. That was a nice pickup there.
Locusts are going to get some free units, though.
He's going to push in again.
Is it going to happen?
That's a lot of Corruptors that he's trying to get in here. The Storms do land on the Corruptors at the front, though, but they kill off so much of all of this. The Broodlords pushing forwards. Soulkey with this army able to crush through the lines here, and the Tempests haven't been able to do enough. They weren't even focusing the Broodlords during all of this. And oh my god, Rain has lost everything. GG! Soulkey is able to take it. An unbelievable recovery here in this round of 8 series. And he moves on to the round of 4.
Grabbing out the mothership core, or the mothership at that point, and then going straight through with his air count, takes out Rain. A big win here for Soulkey, who wins a couple of games in a row, 2 games in a row to turn it around, to find himself on his debut in the Intel Extreme Masters in the semi-finals.
And it wasn't even that common of a comeback. The way in which it was orchestrated there from Soulkey, very, very much so. Quite the treat to watch. A bizarre game 4. And then Rain, unfortunately, has been eliminated here from the Intel Extreme Masters.